Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. Today I'm talking about if you would just let her go, you would have her, right? So what do I mean by that? So sometimes even when we are with a girl and we start dating a girl, that we really like, sometimes we can, and then maybe that girl really, really likes you, right? If she really likes you as well. But sometimes we can mess up these new blossoming relationships, shall we say, right? By being too needy, by being too insecure about it. And you can actually turn a woman off you by behaving too needy and over pursuing and getting really insecure about it, right? Sometimes you can really put a woman off, and she may have been attracted to you to begin with, but she slowly lost her attraction. Now, with women that really like you, then you can make some mistakes. You can have a day where you're too needy or something like that every now and again. But if it's something that's consistent, it's happening all the time, it's not a good look, right? And she's going to be put off you. And the more a woman is interested in you, the more a woman likes you, the more mistakes you can make, right? But the less a woman likes you, so let's say, she thinks you're cute, she thinks you're interesting, but she's not too sure, right? These are the women who are kind of like a little bit on the fence, right? Who could be swayed either way, right? And it's with these women that you need to be extra careful with, especially if you do feel needy and insecure when it comes to women, and you constantly need validation to make sure that she still likes you, right? So the thing is with what you need to know about this is when you're being needy and you're clingy and things like that, they pull away. If you get too needy and you get too clingy, that's when they pull away. That's when they start losing interest, right? Not all the time, because sometimes you might just meet a woman who, probably thought that you were cute, and then she started hanging out with you and just realized that she just wasn't that into you. And you may have been playing all your cards right. You may have been doing all of the right things, but she just realized over time that she wasn't actually that interested in you, and she would much prefer someone else, right? And I think that's a sensible way of looking at things, because I think we've all had those experiences where we think that we like someone, but then we start hanging out with them, and then actually, then maybe it's something about their personality, maybe it's something about the things that they like or dislike, and we're like, actually, you know what, I'm not too keen on this person. I was attracted to them to begin with because of their looks, but after spending time with them, I'm just not that interested. Now, it doesn't mean that they were a bad person, and if a woman feels that way towards you at some point in your life, that doesn't mean that you were a bad person, right? It doesn't mean that you did something wrong. It's just sometimes it just comes down to personal preference and, attraction, what people are attracted to. And you're not going to be attracted to every woman you hang out with, every woman you see, and it's the same with women too. They're not going to be attracted to every man that they hang out with, that they see, right? So you kind of just have to let sometimes those kinds of women go. But if you're dealing with a woman who is like one of these women who are a little bit more on the fence, if you do act too needy and too clingy around them, that will make them less attracted to you. Now, even with women who are super attracted to you, who you can make tons of mistakes with, who you can become a bit needy with sometimes, even what you've got to realize with that as well is even when you are doing that, when you are being needy with them, you're still lowering their attraction, even if it's just by a little bit, right? So it's still not the attractive thing to do, to be needy, to be insecure, to over pursue, right? It's still not a good idea to do that, even with women who are super, super into you, because it's still going to make them less attracted to you over time. And if you keep on doing that consistently over time, and you get into a relationship and you get married, what you'll find is that the sex will decline. There will be less of that. There'll be less of other forms of intimacy too. And she'll just become less attracted to you over time, right? But it happens slowly, right? It happens slowly with women who are super interested in you, right? It happens a lot quicker with women who are a little bit more on the fence, right? So women that you're dating who, are kind of could be swayed either way. They could fall madly in love with you, but they could also fall out of love with you because they're not 100% sure on the attraction, right? So what you want to do then is you want to do the opposite of that. You want to be, in a way, especially at the beginning, you want to play it cool, right? And by playing it cool, I don't mean that you're mean, I don't mean that you're cold. I just mean that you just don't try and seek validation from her, right? By over pursuing. Because what can happen is you make a date with a girl, you arrange something, you hang out, things are going really well, and then you don't hear from her for a couple of days, right? Because let's say you've already arranged a date. So let's say you've arranged a date for Saturday. right? And it's Monday and Tuesday and you haven't heard anything from her, right? What will happen is a guy will start to get scared if he's insecure, and he will reach out and message her and be like, is everything still okay? Are we still on for Saturday? You know, acting kind of like needy, trying to get her validation to make sure that he just, so basically so he can feel secure in himself again, because what he wants to know is, do you still like me? Are you still interested? Is this still going to happen, right? And then basically what happens then is then her attraction starts to dip a little bit, right, for you, and that's when things might start turning a lot more sideways, right? And it's all because that you just couldn't help yourself, that you just needed that validation because you were insecure, right? But you know, but what you got to remember is that sometimes you may have a few days where you don't talk, right? And that's okay, right? Because if you've already arranged a date and it's already set up in stone and you've already arranged something with her, then you know, it shouldn't matter, right? It shouldn't matter that you haven't heard from her, right? And sometimes women do test men in this kind of way, right? Not all women, but some women do test men. They say, okay, I'm just not going to message him for a few days and see how he reacts. Because if he acts really needy and insecure, then, you know, that's obviously going to turn me off, right? And I'm not going to be attracted to that, right? But if he stays strong and he doesn't message me and we still hang out on Saturday, right? Then that's a good sign that he's, you know, mentally stable on the inside. Because what women are really looking for with guys is they're looking for someone who is that emotionally stable, right? Who isn't going to become insecure and unconfident about her, right? They want someone who is confident, who is sure of himself, right? And I think that's pretty universal with actually most women and what they want from a guy, right? So to appear more attractive then, you know, it's really, really important to not do those things, to not over pursue, right? So what is normal pursuing then? Because I've spoken about over pursuing a lot, right? But not to do that, right? So always, basically over pursuing is when you're too often in their DMs. You're the one that's initiating pretty much every conversation. You're sending paragraph after paragraph and she's only sending a couple of sentences, right? So it's a really good idea to look over your correspondence and see who's doing the most of the messaging, who's sending the longer messages, who's initiating most. And if it's you, then you need to cut back a lot. You want it to be her who is messaging you the most, okay? That's really important. So with that being said, what's the right kind of amount of pursuing then? Right, so in the beginning of a relationship, obviously, you need to let your interest be known. You need to let her know that you like her, that you're interested in her, right? And you do that by asking her out, right? If this is someone that you know, right? If there's someone that you know personally, like perhaps someone you go to work with, someone you go to school with, then you say something like, hey, I actually think you're really cute and I'd really love to get together with you sometime. You know, when are you available to do that? When are you available to do so? When are you next free? Right? And if she likes you, she'll tell you when she's available, right? And then you can arrange a date then. You can say, okay, how about we meet here at this time, at this place, and, you know, things get going, right? So as well, if it's with a woman that you meet online, like on a dating app, then, you know, you can get the ball rolling with that pretty much immediately, saying, hey, yeah, I've enjoyed having a chat with you. I think you're really cool. We should definitely hang out sometime. Let me know when you're free. Let me know when you're available to do so, right? And if she likes you, she will tell you when she's available, right? And you can arrange a date, right? So that's how you kind of pursue to begin with. And what may happen, especially if you're dealing with a woman who is a bit more shy or a woman who is still a little bit unsure with you, you may have to do that a couple of times, right? You may have to initiate a date with her a couple of times. So you ask her out on a date the first time, you go out on that date, you wait a few days, you ask her out again, right? And then you go out on the second date. Okay, and then usually after the second date or the third date, that's when she starts to initiate more conversations with you and she starts reaching out to you more. And when she's reaching out to you more, right, all you have to do, like Corey Wayne says, is just assume that when a woman reaches out to you, it means she wants to see you, and then you can start arranging more dates. So therefore, you go from seeing each other once a week, you know, over the first couple of weeks or the first 3 dates. So you see each other once a week for 3 weeks, and then eventually after that, when she starts reaching out to you more, maybe you spend the weekend together, or maybe you see each other during the week and on the weekend, right? Because what Corey Wayne says is you've got to assume that when a woman reaches out to you, she wants to see you. So whenever she reaches out to you and she's initiating things with you, right, you can make more dates. Okay, and that's how you know as well that she's starting to fall in love with you, that she's starting to like you, because she's reaching out to you more. Okay, so that's how you pursue to begin with. You only pursue a little bit to begin with, like the first few weeks, and then she'll do the rest of the pursuing, right? Okay, so that's how you pursue correctly, right? Instead of you messaging her every single day, always in her DMs, because what you got to realize is that she can't miss you. She can't be thinking about you and wondering about you if you're always in her DMs. Okay, she can't miss you if you're always talking to her, right? It's going to lower her attraction, especially in those more fragile few days, right? Those fragile time, the fragile beginning of a date, those first few weeks. If you're doing too much, she will lose attraction for you, right? Especially if she's one of these women who are a little bit more on the fence, or a little bit unsure about you, right? A woman who is super attracted to you, like 100% attracted to you, it may not matter as much, right? But if it's a woman who's a little bit unsure, perhaps she's already kind of backed off a little bit from you sometimes, you've got to really play it cool with those women, especially if, right, you really, really want her. Sometimes, obviously, the most ideal thing, though, is to just seek women who are 100% into you, so it doesn't really matter too much and you can relax a little bit and you don't have to be strategic about it, right? But ultimately, if you are interested in women, sometimes that you meet who are a little bit more on the fence about you, then you really do need to play it cool and not get insecure about it, because sometimes they might be testing you. Sometimes they might purposely not message you for a few days to see how you're going to react. And the best thing to do is to not react at all, to not react whatsoever, or to message, and by that I mean to message her, to over pursue and things like that. Just let it be. If you've already arranged a date, assume that she's going to be there, right? If you've already made concrete plans, you don't need to worry about those things. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.